Hey there. It's another Toolbox Tech Talk. Yeah. Welcome back to Toolbox Tech Talk this Sunday, 2 p.m. Melbourne. Woohoo! Well. Gotta give some high fives out there. You might notice the new hoodie. Thanks to the boys from Cutters there. I really appreciate the merch. Love my Cutters. Both the merch and the guys. And girls. It's a team. Okay, well, let's get down to it. Today on Toolbox Tech Talk, I got a special guest. His name is Fedor, or Fred to everyone, and he's the Inga team guy, and he's got some awesome stuff to talk about, but he couldn't be here live, so we just did a pre-record here in my new studio. I've kind of set it up as a bit of a podcast arrangement where guests come in and they talk to me. You might have seen the one with Anne and Laurie from Solar Plus. That will probably be linked up in the description. But anyway, the one with Fred is going to be live today, so he'll be coming up next in a minute, and he's going to rock you with the Inga Team storage inverter. Inga Team Play, I think it's called. I've got a couple of those here installed, so Anne installed them with him just the other day, with the Pylon Tech, with the Force One, and with the modular high voltage batteries. And we're going to talk about those, talk about how they work, how you can use them off-grid, which is what they're designed for, and on-grid. So anyway, without further ado, over to me and Fred. Well, actually, my boring friend Glenn. I'm DJ Glenmo. He's Glenn. We'll get over to him, and he can take it away talking to Fred.
Okay.
It's a little trick of how you manage.
Feels like you're in a wrong business. You should be in the studio production.
Well, actually, I used to be a photographer. Did I tell you that?
Yes, I know, and a very good pizza maker.
Yeah, well, actually, no, the worst pizza in New Zealand. I used to make the worst pizzas in New Zealand. Yeah.
Are you sure it was the worst pizza place or worst pizza itself?
Well, I never got to actually make the bases. They were made a week before and stored in a fridge, and so they're a week old by the time I got them. And they had the tomato and cheese already on top.
Okay, week old.
Week old pizzas, and then I would turn up at the shop after college. I was at Teachers College, and I would be putting toppings on and serving them to people. So they had old bases, almost mouldy, with fresh toppings.
How did you feel about that?
I had to throw a lot of them out. I got in trouble for throwing out the bases. I said, you can't serve some of these. They've gone hard. You know, they've got little green spots on them. We can't serve this. It's a health issue. And I quit in the end.
No.
So, yeah, I have worked for the worst pizza shop. I won't say who they are. They might still be in business. It was a chain, actually.
That would be surprising. They're still in business.
It's true. Yeah. But I did work. I did have a photography business for a while. So that's where I learned how to do this stuff.
Yeah.
Lighting, basically, is all what photography is about. Lighting and camera operation. So, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I'm in Hollywood now.
Well, you should be. You should be.
Yeah.
So, Fred, it's great to have you on only my second podcast.
Second.
Yeah, so I had one just a week ago. So, cheers.
Cheers.
Second podcast. And thanks for bringing the ciders. That's great. It's a bit of tradition for us, isn't it? You know, work all day and have a bit of fun.
Yeah, we're side have gone the wrong way. Sorry. Yeah, that's a bit of tradition of us. Really have fun. It's a wonderful village here. It's a smart lab. It's a place for me where I feel good. It's a nice people around as well, and they can drink, I can assure you.
Well, it's really nice having you here to come in and enjoy the vibes, and always bring some new tech along. So, we've been playing with the Inga Team inverter for a while now in different configurations, and Pylon Tech batteries, and it's been a really interesting experience. So I'm glad to be a bit of an R&D hub for those companies that you've introduced me to.
Yep. We were testing some functions on I think we powered your house at some point and had some blackouts and nice surprises, but just gone through that. Yeah, all worked out well. I don't know how worked it out for Glenn and his family, but Inga Team is okay.
Yeah, I think my family's used to the odd blackout because it's all for good cause. Yeah, it's when my students used to come here and do training, they would often turn the power off without asking, and suddenly the house would be in darkness.
Okay, there wasn't much training. It was the software testing, but anyway, I think it's all working well. We disconnected Glenn's house out of these inverters and finished experimenting on him. Let him live his life quietly.
No, never, you never finish experimenting.
Never.
This industry is all about learning by doing, and
yeah,
it's cool. So just to kind of introduce people to the podcast. So we're in my studio here, which is actually just an old shed. You've been here many times, and it's been many things, hasn't it? Training room.
Yeah, it was a training room, and it was a warehouse.
Yep.
A lot of students I've seen here before. And again, it was a warehouse, something like that, and now it's converted in basically similar to Hollywood studio. I've been in one.
Really?
In Hollywood.
Yeah.
That the studio where the Helen show going. I've been in this one, and yours is better.
What were you doing there?
Just browsing or rumbling around, just in America.
Oh, you weren't a part of the show, the audience?
No. Just look at it. They've got like excursion stuff. You can go over there and have a look. Yeah.
And how did you find America?
Let's skip that. Next was Canada. That was good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to talk about what my impression was in America. Sorry.
Were you there for business or pleasure?
No, just for pleasure.
Okay.
Just for pleasure. Yeah.
Fair enough. Cool.
No.
Yeah, I remember going to Intersolar in San Francisco maybe 5 years ago now. It's quite a long time with Laurie, my business partner, and Barbara from Easy Warm, and that was fun. The three of us kind of just learning about the American market and the products, and God, the sales is it's different ethos there. Everyone's got these big ideas, and some of them have no product. They're just kind of pushing an idea. You go to a trade conference and there's a cardboard cutout of a battery, and they go, "Yeah, we're just looking for some funding to get this up, and here's the cardboard mock-up of our battery." I go, "Is that all there is?" Yeah, it's early days. Just give us a few $100 million and we'll make a battery.
Is that so different in Australia? Yeah, we have to have a hard product, and not just hard product. You have to be here for a long time before somebody really gonna touch you.
Yeah. I think we're much more wary of kind of the new until it's proven itself. Particularly when it comes to something expensive like a battery system and an inverter system.
Yeah, very some ways I found that conservative a bit market. That's where I come across my struggle on in Australia with my Inga Team here, and I just want to touch that base. That's one of the first struggles is the installer's first thing that transformer-less cannot be off-grid. Second, the high voltage on off-grid again. That a bit is some sort of surprise.
I think they've just got over the fact that lead acid is fading away, and it's been a big step to get used to that. Lithium is being used off grid, and people are comfortable with it now. I suppose change is always difficult in this conservative industry.
Yes, but in spite of convenience of high voltage systems, and it looks like the battery makers trying to push that sort of solutions around the world, the off-grid market remain very skeptical that the high voltage battery can be on off-grid. Well, I don't know why, but that's just how the people used to be.
It's probably because they're associated with your small battery systems, your 10 to 15 kilowatt hour battery that's used for hybrid. They just don't think it's kind of scalable. But you only have to look at commercial UPS systems. They're not 48 volt. They're often 400 volts and upwards.
Yeah, 1,000 volts even.
Yeah,
the systems. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but that's the a bit of struggle with the installers around. Very, very used to 24, 48 volts. That's for them. Looks like that's what off-grid is. I think it's somewhere in the heart, deep down. Yeah.
I think it probably originates from the days when I started in the early 90s. It's very DIY. And so you kind of wanted systems that weren't going to kill you.
Yeah.
Well, they could, but hopefully maybe by burning you. But 48 volt, 24 volt was very popular. And that's also what lead acid batteries suited, but times are changing.
Yep.
Yeah. So, look, I didn't really introduce you very well. So I should point out that that Fred, I've known Fred for probably over 3 years now, 3 or 4 years.
Yes.
Maybe longer.
No, I think it's two or three.
2 or 3? Yeah. Okay.
2 or 3 or something like that. Yeah.
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 And Fred's been associated with Ingeteam, and I think he's a bit of a hero of the Ingeteam brand. I think you are Ingeteam, aren't you, in Australia?
Yeah. I can tell you what's behind that. As I'm as many of guys who listen us now, I used to install. I used to spend a lot of time crimping, connecting batteries. Yeah, I don't have license for that, but anyway, I did it with my electricians, and I was looking around all the time. Why that should be so hard? Why it can't be much simpler? And I spent time, hours on the exhibitions, and Ingeteam never been really trying to present hardware product. They very, very well occupied with the megawatt stuff and solar farms, whatever. And I just start asking questions about this inverter they've got an exhibition. And it's just after digging in, I just discovered how wonderful the product is. And I wanted to install it. And because I've got so passionate about that, I've finally got known the head of Ingeteam in Australia, and he trusted me Australian stock and the technical support on this product. And I would say it's probably just my passion, and I did like the product itself. I had no idea about Ingeteam before, and they didn't offer me any salary or anything. I just did like that. That's it, and I still like it. And I'm happy to prove today it's very interesting and wonderful product. The properties and abilities, and that product was designed already 6 years ago, but it's still up to date, and we're capable to changing software to accept any standards, any requirements, and any possible tricks.
Tell me, for those who don't know who Ingeteam is, what's the history of this company?
Okay, shortly, it's a Spanish company. It's about 4,000 people company, 500 people in R&D itself, a very big R&D department. All this company does is power conversion, different forms. The main sectors is marine, railways, mining, wind power, hydro, and solar. Everything what is connected to power conversion. They produce the biggest inverters in this world, and a lot of stuff like submergible pumps or whatever. And the technology which they use, it's going across all the product. That's how I really know. And I know there's similar technology in that megawatt structures and that small 6 kilowatt inverter. That's the but company itself, I think they're about 60 years old. They've got a couple different brands, but yeah, it's a big and very research oriented. I think the R&D department is really big.
Wow. Yeah. So I just thinking about when I first heard about Ingeteam, it was sort of like with a sort of hushed voice that this is like a secret weapon. I think it was either John English or Peter from SI Clean Energy.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it was Peter. And he was just saying, not a lot of people know about this inverter, this company, but they make awesome inverters. He was selling the grid tie products back then, I think.
Yeah. He was trying the grid tied product. Honestly, there was a couple hiccups in that moment, first generation of product, which is understandable. They suddenly scaled the megawatt inverters to the 3-4 kilowatt, and there was in the first generation, I know, was a couple hiccups which they fixed it, but didn't really persist that small market in Australia. Mainly oriented on the large stuff.
Yeah, and so why do you think they made a storage inverter, since they do mostly large power conversion equipment?
There's a storage one, and they've got the megawatt sizes of storage inverters. I don't know what was the reason to get this particular battery inverter, but I think it was a time to introduce it, and I think they believe their biggest markets, not in Australia, definitely. There's a lot of countries where the Ingeteam very strong and like off-grid installations, and sold a lot of one of them, like South Africa, for example. They're one of the biggest consumers of grid stuff from Ingeteam, and Europe.
Yeah, I guess South Africa has got a lot of the similarities to Australia in terms of the size of the country and the landscape and the climate.
Yes.
And therefore the same issues about remote area power.
Yes.
Yeah, so I guess that's a natural collaboration there. So look, we've got a few pictures here of the inverter. I mean, people are probably wondering what it looks like, and I'll probably drop those into the edit so you can see them a bit better. But yeah, the inverter's very compact, and you just don't think of it as being an off-grid inverter too, because it's not, 60 kilos.
No, it's not 60 kilos, but I can say it's relatively heavy.
Mm-hmm.
As this inverter, about 6 kilowatt, and it's definitely transformer-less, but it's got very powerful cooling system. One of the Ingeteam's, when they inverter ratings going at the 40 to 50 degree temperatures. Like if they say 6 kilowatt inverter, this rating goes up to 40 degrees Celsius. And that's continuous power. That's how the Ingeteam rating this. That's the reason how this heavy thin heat cooling system, and inverter 23 kilos, not that heavy, but it can be much lighter in that size.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the on-grid hybrids are around the 10 to 15 kilo
Yes,
mark. So
yes.
it is heavy for a transformerless inverter.
It's heavy for transformerless inverter, but it's meant to work off grid. It's meant to pump 24/7 power. That's the reason for that's heavy equipment.
So what would you say are the key characteristics that an off-grid inverter needs?
For me, it was amazing characteristic, which again attracted me when I was looking into that inverter. It can accept very large solar array. Like this 6 kilowatt inverter, but you can put up to 15 kilowatt of panels on that. And it's DC coupled with the batteries. Basically, what's that create is a very powerful charge controller, like 15 kilowatt, which is allowed to charge. And we're working with Power and Tech, and you can probably see the charging line, how quick the battery get up to the 100% here.
Yes, I mean, this is one of your client systems, isn't
Yes, it's one of the client systems here.
it? Is it on-grid or off-grid?
This one off grid, and it's a double inverter system. It's actually inverter B, which is AC coupled with inverter A. It's two inverter system. This one, particular one.
So when you say two inverter systems, I should explain this to people. It's not two in parallel, it's two in series.
Yes, they're working in a series. The one inverter looking into another inverter as an AC source. There is an AC coupling function, and inverter B, which is connected to the loads, can spread the loads and between two inverters. Like we can, for example, say if you've got bigger array and bigger battery in inverter B, it will take 70% of loads and only 30% pass on inverter A. That sort of functions we introduced. It's just actually recently we manage this. And they're working in a series because the inverter allowed to pass 12 kilowatts through. And that's how this system working.
Okay, Hammer, let me just get these numbers. 6 kilowatts of AC output power.
Yes.
How much DC charge to the battery?
Wherever you can connect panels. Basically, maximum we can accept 30 amp, 500 volts working. That's roughly 15 kilowatt. That's what we can charge into the battery.
Wow. So a 6 kilowatt inverter with a 15 kilowatt DC charger.
Yes. And that's working very well. If you look at my installations, people never use generator. We oversizing arrays heavily, very heavily, but there's a number of people who never had generator connected. I guess the 15 kilowatt, well, usually it's 12 kilowatt. It's 3 strings of 12 panels. 1188 or something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I know there's quite a tricky sizing formula that you've got to make sure you hit the right voltage window and current.
Yeah.
But you can do it. But let's not go into that right now. One of the things that comes to mind is this is kind of like an STC buster. Like you can get so many STCs on this inverter.
Yes, we're getting a lot of STCs on this inverter. Each installation attract, I think it's about $6,000. Yeah, one installation, 12 kilowatt panels, about $6,000 of STCs. Yeah.
Wow. So for a 6 kilowatt inverter, you can get $6,000 worth of STCs because of that overpowering capability.
Yes.
And therefore, the silly CEC rule doesn't apply because it's got batteries.
Batteries, yeah.
And the fact that the manufacturer warrants it for that level of power.
No problem. Yeah.
That's just awesome. I'm going to have another sip for that.
Yep, I will too.
So I think you've kind of just hit on one of my favorite things about off-grid now that's happening, which is very little generator use, if none.
Yes.
Like 100% renewables is possible now. It never used to be. I still, when I teach, say it's recommended that you have a backup generator, but really it's just a personal choice, isn't it? Whether the lights go off or not because you've been silly.
Yeah. What I found with one of my clients, they set we do run out of power for 1 hour, maybe somewhere at midnight or later. But by the morning we wake up because we've put a lot of panels on the east side. They get up really a lot of light right in the morning. They said our battery is full in 1 hour basically. And they didn't bother to connect generator. They said we can survive that couple hours without power sometimes. But yeah, the people, I like the people who used to live with old systems, who really knows how to save the power. And we installed them 12 kilowatt panels. They never can discharge the battery below 80%. And I have to talk to them and say, look, you got to relax. You've got power. Run your air conditioner. Just put the kettle on. I don't know. Just have a bit fun. Have a bit of fun. Yeah.
Yeah, it's totally use it or lose it. Like, you're not getting a reward for not using it.
No, that's what I said. You've got so much power through the day, particularly. Your battery is like this one. You can see they're full. What's that, 11 a.m.?
Yeah, so this system, tell me the specs on this one.
This system got 12 kilowatt panels, this one particular, and 12 kilowatt hours battery.
Okay.
About 12 kilowatt hours. It's Pylon Tech. I think it's about 11 kilowatt hours usable. And they've got another system which is in a series connected to this one, and that got as well similar capacity. It's basically, this house got 60 panels on the roof.
Wow. I'm just looking at the nighttime load.
Yeah.
So I can see there's two inverters. So what is this public grid? That's inverter A?
Yes, that's inverter A. That's the grid. Yeah.
So they're using about 700 watts throughout the night?
Yes, there's a big house there.
Yeah, okay. So that's not a light load. That's fairly big. Did you say 60 panels, but 12?
60 panels. They've got one inverter with 36 panels and another one with 24.
Oh, okay. Yep. So just coming back to that change of thinking of whether you need a generator or not, one of the other reasons people have a generator is the fear of black start. For those who are familiar with AC coupled systems, one of the big challenges is that if the batteries go low over the night, particularly say winter, cold weather, rainy, and the batteries go so low that the battery inverter shuts down, then even if the sun comes out, you've got nothing happening.
Nothing happen. Now, that's what I do like about this inverter. Even there is no batteries that will power your house from solar. Basically, technically, it's there is a DC bus where the inverter sources the DC power, and doesn't matter we have solar panels or batteries. It just matter what's the power. If we have a power there, and if the battery fails and we've got enough power from the sun, you will be off grid just from solar panels. That's as well. I like that property.
So it's pretty bomb-proof from a black start point of view. So you don't have to worry about your batteries going low and the inverter shutting down. The moment sun arrives, you will charge. Even if your batteries fail for some reason, you're still
gonna power.
Daytime power.
Daytime power, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are there any limits on how much daytime power you're going to get?
No. As much as the panels can produce, the inverter will be producing that.
So once again, it's all about that oversizing. So having lots and lots of solar.
Yes.
I mean, look, my favorite saying is, or it's almost my life's motto, is the solution is always more solar panels.
More solar panels. you can't fail with the energy source.
Yeah.
That's your main energy source.
Yeah.
The bigger collector, the better. Then you will figure out what you're going to do with that. But there's no loss on that. And our rebate is wonderful. They cover all your roof expenses.
In the olden days, which was only 20 years ago, people used to think the bigger your battery bank, the better. It was somehow the batteries were the main event because panels were so expensive. But that's such a false sense of they don't generate anything, do they?
No, they don't generate this actually. And now it's completely different story. We're not trying to achieve the 2 or 3 days of autonomy on the battery system. We're trying to achieve that we can charge them every day. Doesn't matter what the weather. That's the basically we're trying to do. We very often and it's still battery is expensive, and you can save a bit on that, and you can start your system with a small bank of batteries, and it's proven it's working. Like you can start with the bank which only taken you through the night.
Sorry. I was actually going to bring up a picture just now. Here we go. Where is it? This one here. So this is the instantaneous power picture, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things that looks confusing, it looks like it's using grid power, but that's not
that's
the case.
the inverter A.
Ah, okay.
That's the inverter A.
Yep.
We didn't bring the like a dual inverter system, I call. We still didn't get together the monitoring system for that because the function was introduced recently. But hopefully we'll work it out and we'll get it all in one for monitoring. But right now we have to monitor each inverter separately.
Right. Okay. Well, I might just look at the other system here. So I think I've got both of them. Logged out.
I'll just log in.
Yeah. By the way, I really love this this interface. It's just a really beautiful looking monitoring web page.
Yep.
I mean, it's colorful. I mean, that's what appeals to me. So this is inverter A here.
Yeah.
So we'll just bring up inverter A.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm just going to take a screenshot of that. So inverter A is got the same battery system or different battery systems?
Same battery system, yeah.
They share it?
No, they don't share it. One is the good thing, I think. It's a lot of asking if we can share the system. Unfortunately, data-connected batteries, difficult to share. But on off-grid situation, and you have two independent systems, basically, it's really good thing. If one fails, the another one take over. You wouldn't really notice until you exhaust everything. It's a bit of double redundancy, the more reliability for off-grid.
Yeah. So let me just picture this because I've had the same setup here in the lab. We have inverter A with battery system A and inverter B with battery system B, which could be a totally different battery system. Doesn't have to be the same. They're completely independent, but A feeds B and B feeds the home.
Yes.
So if B fails, A picks up. If A fails, B picks up.
B picks up, yes.
So you've actually got an N+1 system. That means you've got a spare system, but it's only half the capacity.
Half the capacity.
And you don't have to rewire the house or anything to get it to work. It just works.
No, it just works. You wouldn't notice it's working. And 6 kilowatt, to be honest, most of the time more than enough for any house. It's difficult to really for them notice it. But hopefully it will send the email. Something wrong. Yeah.
So this is inverter A, and as we can see it's 100% renewable.
Yeah.
And that's because it's feeding inverter B.
Yes, because it's feeding inverter B. Yes.
So it's a bit like this is the grid.
Yes, it's like a grid for the inverter B. Yes.
And then inverter A feeds inverter B, which this is inverter B, and I'll just bring up its power diagram. So there's inverter B.
Yeah, and we can see how they share the power. Inverter B takes 60% loads. You can see on the top, that's actually exactly, and that's how we program that. 60% carried by inverter B, 40% by inverter A.
So you can actually set the proportion of which...
Proportion, yes.
So let's say inverter A has a bigger battery system and a bigger PV system. You could go 70% inverter A, 30% inverter B.
Yes,
right.
That's what we do.
This is an expandable system too, isn't it? You can start with one inverter and then go, I don't have enough power and or storage, and add another.
Yes, easy. If you bring another system here, that's where we extended old Selectronic system. No, back to...
Oh, sorry,
back to here.
Back to
that's plants.
Oh, yep. Sorry. Thank you. I'm not as proficient as you. Yep.
Yeah, if you look at that system here,
Yes.
this blue part is the old Selectronic system which is still working, and we added InGTeam inverter into that system, and we turn on the AC coupling, and if you bring the current production, that's where we can see right now 65% taken by InGTeam and 35% loaded on all of grid system.
So hang on. The InGTeam is connected on the load side of the SP Pro.
Yes,
And the output of the SP Pro feeds the InGTeam.
yes,
As if it was the grid.
yes,
And then the output of the InGTeam feeds the home.
yes.
So they're in
Yeah.
series.
Yes, they're in series, and then we can regulate how much will be loads shared with the SP Pro. In this case, we put it 35% on SP Pro because that system only 5 kilowatt of panels and smaller battery bank. That's all the system, like with lead acid batteries. Yeah, and this family very well used to live on a smaller system. Again, they can't really discharge much.
So I'm just going to jump out of that now. It's not one of these ones, is it?
No, that's the different.
A different one. So can you go beyond it's like 2 in series yet?
No, we can put 3, 4, and 5 in series, but no point we can't increase the power more than 12 kilowatt.
Oh, okay.
That's the capability to pass through, but we can make the microgrid out of all of them.
Gotcha.
That's yeah, that doesn't make sense really. No parallel connection. No, we don't have it.
Right.
I think InGTeam got different approach. Probably will come up with the big inverter. Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, everyone wants everything,
Yeah.
but you can't quite have everything with InGTeam.
Yeah.
No 3-phase.
No, 1 megawatt size. We have 3 phase.
Oh, no problem. When's that coming to the lab?
Yes. Yeah, no 3 phase yet. No, I don't know. That's the day in Spain. They knows what they're doing. I only can do what I have here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. So it's a mighty little beast, really. What it can do. There is some challenges in terms of sizing, and I remember you explaining to me that the voltage is one of the key things you have to get right.
Okay. There's 2 interesting things. Battery voltage. InGTeam can accept from 40 volts to 300 volts. But the trick is it's a 50 amp, not more. And they get 15 kilowatt of power. You have to have about 300 volt of batteries. And another trick on this particular system, unfortunately, you need a long strings, like 11, 12 panels, not less. Minimum voltage is 330 volts of DC input. And it's actually not just like that. It's an interesting formula. It's a AC output voltage, 230 volts, multiplied by 144. That's the minimum DC voltage have to be on a panel side.
So what happens if the grid volts go up?
If that's why I was always asking long strings. If we've got a really short string and only 330 volts, and the grid voltage goes too high, it will stop producing power. That's a bit of challenge with the grid. There's 2 ways we tackle it. One, first of all, what's happened in this case? If the voltage of the grid, if we're talking on a grid system, grid connected system, goes too high, inverter just disconnect the grid and go in off-grid function automatically. And that's one. Another way we can raise the grid voltage and keep inverter on grid. But if the panels less than 12 panels in a string, that might stop producing power for some time. That's why usually, which is absolutely okay, 11, 12 panels, that's what we install.
We're talking 60 cell modules, right?
Yeah, we're talking 60 cell modules, yeah. 11, 12 panels in a string, and you never lose the grid or production or anything.
Yeah.
It's much easier for off-grid, where the voltage is controlled by us, and you're really safe. But again, there's two ways. So you keep inverter on grid with the higher grid voltage, or you just drop the grid and keep working as off-grid. Not really a big deal for this situation, yeah.
So when I look at some on-grid, none of your plots show it, but some on-grid systems which don't have storage, what you see is outages all day long because of lost production. So if I go to today's, what am I looking at?
You want the plots?
Yeah. So I just want to look at a plot. So a plot for today. Let's go back to this one. So yeah, the reason that the solar has curtailed is that the batteries are full.
Yeah.
So on this system.
Yeah.
But for many on-grid people, you'll see these gaps because the grid voltage goes too high.
Yeah.
But that's not a problem if you have battery storage.
Look, it's not a problem even with Ingeteam. It will take you off grid without batteries.
Yeah.
If your grid disconnected, it will continue power.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
I wasn't talking about the grid disconnecting. I was talking the grid going out of voltage range and the inverter turning off.
Yeah.
In an Ingeteam with battery system will just continue to charge the battery but not feed the grid. It won't
not feed the grid. They just continue to feed the house and batteries.
So that means you would put the essential loads on the load output side of the Ingeteam.
Yeah.
And the non-essential that you don't want to back up on the grid side.
Yeah, we can do this. Usually on grid-connected houses, we bypass only oven and cooktop. They're just too powerful.
Yep.
The rest of the house usually goes okay.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's what you usually do, and it appears to be okay. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've given people a picture here of the Ingeteam and its capabilities. I mean, it really is. It's a sophisticated product with lots of features. Like I was saying to you today, in a way, you just have to dream up what you want. One of the things that kind of appealed to me was that it can solve many problems. So you're on grid, you want to self-use, piece of cake.
Yes.
Right? That's easy. Lots of products can do that. You're off grid and you want to be able to have interaction with a backup generator for some reason. You can do that.
Yes.
And it can start the generator.
Yes.
So it has voltage-free contacts.
Yep.
Yep.
There's a programmable relay, can be two programmable relays, which can program for many functions. One of them stop-start generator on any conditions you want.
And what would you use the other one for?
Look, I didn't use it for anything, but for example, you can have a contactor for some reason if you want to disconnect some loads.
So control loads.
Control loads. And it can be added more functions to that. It's just future-proof.
Can you set conditions on what it does, when it does it? Like battery's full?
Yes, it can. You can set conditions. If there is a number of, we actually can show it right here.
Oh yeah.
If you go to plant configuration, plant configuration, we can right now log into that inverter managing system. Straight from your, if you go communication, and there is a gear. Yep, it will open the new window.
So we're doing this through the internet?
Yes.
Right.
We're right now going to log into existing working system, and we can change settings. We can stop them and make a nightmare for that people right now.
Shh.
Yeah.
You didn't hear that. You didn't hear that.
Yeah.
But let's say the opposite is you can solve problems for them.
Yes, that's what actually most of the time. Hopefully, internet is good enough and gonna load that. But yeah, we do solve problems through that.
Yep.
Yeah. We can really. Okay, it's we're inside the inverter. If we go this right on the left on the top, the main, no, up there, yep, main. Now we're going to this. This is where you can update software. Actually, it's already asking to update on the left. If you see this yellow, but if we go here, press on that inverter itself. That's the monitoring page. We can read all the current status of the of basically everything inverter does, and there is a configuration page, and that's where we we actually right now start configuring this inverter to wherever this settings we need right now.
So this is usually when the installer calls you.
Yes, that's the basically, but most of the time installer tells me what's the installation going to be, and I pre-program it.
Ah, that's good.
Yeah. That's actually digital output input. That's where we program. If you see the configuration, start stop generator, low battery voltage, non-critical loads, neutral ground. That's what we can use that programmable relays for.
Right.
And more functions can be added to that if we need it.
That's probably another thing that really impressed me about Inga Team. So we'll leave this screen for the time being. Is that you have a very close working relationship with the R&D team.
Yes, it's wonderful R&D team there in Spain. We bit of the different time with them. Usually I'm ready to go to bed and they just wake up, and we're straight on the WhatsApp. We're using WhatsApp for communication, and every day with this guy, his name is David Baricardi. We're sometimes talking, but amazing engineer. He managing this system, and he adds the functions, and it was working very swiftly, and he loves that. He loves that very much. And I've been asking like pair to inverters, AC coupling, and he always find the time and working on that. And I think it's interesting that how we solved the problems with that. Yeah, wonderful. Well, can't wait when this bloody COVID over. I want to fly there and drink with David.
So I think this is one of the luxuries of being a big company with thousands of staff. You can actually have a fully functioning, responsive R&D team who can respond to country needs. Like you're effectively representing Australia and the needs that we have. So I mean, my experience has been I go, I've got these Pylon Tech batteries, Fred. Do you think they'd work with the Inga team? Let me just talk to David. Maybe next week we'll get them working, and then
basically this. I wanna say I was impressed with Pylon Tech as well. Mm-hmm. When I contacted them first time, they were so quick to respond. Basically, of course, they responded because they know Inga team name from you very well, and they said there's big there. But the R&D team there and R&D team in Spain, they worked as very swift. They've got very beautifully paired battery. And
keep talking. I'm just typing something.
Yeah, and what I introduced here, and I spoke to both like Spain and Pylon Tech, the technical problems and warranty and installations made Inga team with Pylon Tech. I manage them. You don't need to really go to different manufacturer and one say this is problem with battery, that problem with the another component. There is only two components in the system, one inverter, another the battery, and we always can read them and handle it.
Yeah, so I confer with you that Pylon Tech were equally responsive when we said we've got this Inga team inverter. We want to work with the Pylon Tech high voltage batteries because I had a 200 volt stack sitting there in the lab. and they just worked it out. And you were basically the grease to the wheel. You made it all happen.
Yeah, we were this Ned is there in Shanghai. We as well on the WhatsApp all the time. Tech support straight away from China.
Do you ever sleep?
Yes, I do, and a lot. I think I don't let them sleep usually. That's it. But I want to say it's very responsive. When I had troubles on installations, just called directly to Shanghai. And there's certain technical problems there. It's really amazing. We don't need to be really around here in Australia or somewhere. As soon as the people willing to help, I had even this interesting story when the one guy from South Africa found me and was asking to help to connect Pylon-Tech and Ingi team, because in South Africa they didn't know yet that how there was a pairing, and there was a bit of problem that old Ingi team batteries had to be upgraded. But anyway, there was like international collaboration between South Africa, Australia, Spain, and China. Finally, get the system in South Africa going.
I'm just trying to look for a nice picture of the Pylon-Tech stack that we installed today.
Well, why wouldn't we look at that itself?
Yeah, we will. But for those during the podcast, I'll have to edit that in. But today we installed two different Pylon-Tech systems. So they're Force series, which is a stackable modular, basically Lego blocks.
Lego blocks, like this on this picture.
Like we had up on the picture before. I'll just go back one. I'll go back a screen. Oops. And so we had, if I can get it to do it.
Probably if you just Google Pylon-Tech Force H1, might be on my website actually.
Okay.
Not really remember where did I, but it might be there. Yep. Okay, I think it's, if I look at this of grid packages.
Packages.
Yeah, have a look if I scroll all the way down.
Oh yeah, lots of them. There they are.
Yeah, that's how they look like. There's probably better pictures somewhere. Should be somewhere at the bottom maybe. Hope so.
And the other one we installed was the Pylon-Tech metal cabinet.
Yeah,
which you can put the modular.
We used the modular. It's an X1 system, which is actually designed to build the big systems. That's one of, we don't have that new one here yet, but that's how we build it.
Nice website. Fred, who was your designer?
Me.
Yeah?
Yes.
You're multi-talented.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Now, there's no stackable here, yeah?
Yeah, right. So the metal Pylon-Tech cabinet can take, what, four?
Five.
Oh, five.
2.4 kilowatt hours, yeah. 12 kilowatt hours, roughly, that one.
We only put 4 in today.
We put the 4, yes.
Yeah, okay.
5 batteries plus BMS, yeah.
All right.
Nice cabinet, but X1, these sort of batteries, they are really designed to build the bigger systems. You can parallel up to 6 strings of that, and I think they can go about 1,000 volts.
That's with the string combiner.
And then a string combiner, and you can start paralleling that string combiner, yeah. But stackable is more like domestic, very convenient. With Ingi team, we can figure out a problem on the Pylon-Tech website. That will be the best.
Actually, I was going to ask you another question, which is you posted on the Australia Off-Grid site that some data from the Pylon-Tech testing at the battery test center.
Yeah.
And that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, our follow-up is that you introduced me that, you showed that website, and it was quite interesting. That's this battery center, yeah. They produce interesting report, and I think the Pylon-Tech is quite good there.
Yeah, so the battery test center, in fact, it's called the Lithium Ion Battery Test Center.
Yeah.
They test lots of chemistries, not just lithium
yeah.
ion. It's kind of
Yeah.
funny. I think it might have started off like that. It's run by ITP Renewables, and look, they're a pretty impressive organisation in Canberra. You know, I've known Simon Franklin since he left university and started working there, and he now owns the business or co-owns it, I think, and is doing an amazing job. This site is like a world's best practice example of independent testing, and it's got ARENA funding, which has made it possible, and therefore it's all public. So even though they're a private company, they've built this amazing test facility, and they do different groups of batteries, and I think they're up to like third or the fourth now, I can't remember, where they put them all on the same sort of test arrangement. In fact, they're energy efficient too, because the energy gets circulated around. They don't just dump it. And so currently, there's a bunch of systems, and you can select any one of these and get live data off it. But the comparison is really interesting.
Oh yeah.
When you look at the reports and
the reports,
and the fading of capacity.
Fading capacity, that's probably the biggest problem here would be when there's then unfortunately what I've noticed is famous brand not the best very often. Yeah, but it's really good data. I like it, and I'm very pleased the Palantec doing very well there, and we're working with them. It's nice system. So I can bet I've got best systems.
Yeah, I think there's a problem, which is if you don't have an independent test facility like this, it's marketing wins. So
marketing wins.
Company with the biggest marketing budget convince you that their product is the best. It might be the best, but that you don't get any real world comparison for some time. And considering battery is going to last you like 10 years or so, it takes a long time to find out. They do accelerated testing here.
Yeah,
a lot of cycles. So they cycle them seriously, many times a day, and to get that sort of fade capacity. So yeah, I think it's a great site. It's good to hear that Palantec are doing well.
Yeah, so it's it's a lot of interesting things now. Yeah, isn't it? Like the battery technology is in a stage where it's only started developing. We are in an interesting time when there's new stuff coming. In 10 years' time, it might be boring. Everyone will be good at that, and they will be pretty similar. But right now, we've got so much fun of trying it and testing and all that. Like probably, I would say solar panels testing now is a boring subject. Pretty much.
Well, unless you're in the business of selling solar panels.
Solar panels.
Yeah, I mean, really, with products that cost a lot and last a long time, you are more concerned with quality.
Yes.
But if you're buying a block of cheese, it's really just a block of cheese, unless you're a connoisseur.
Yeah.
And so you don't really think about it.
We're basically hit with the panels. They're so cheap that we're not concerned much about them.
You're not concerned until you're concerned. Like your house catches fire, the system doesn't work anymore. Because it's not the cheap panels, it's the cost of replacing them and getting that system working again. And labour costs and balancer systems and rebates, etc. And because of changing standards, you end up having to replace the whole system. So it's not a trivial exercise if
not
panels
trivial,
fail. But you're right. Look, I'm looking forward to batteries being boring. Boring and cheap.
Boring and cheap.
Boring and cheap. That's what we want.
Yeah. Well, that would be pretty sure.
Well, hey, Fred. Look,
what about more drink?
Well, actually, I think we probably better wind this up and drink more offline.
Okay.
Responsible drinking offline.
Yeah. Okay.
But look, it's been really great having you today. And
thanks, Glenn.
No worries.
I'm so happy to be here.
And look, I've learned.
You can't, guys, imagine how good here in Muramura. There's a lot of fun here.
And always learn stuff when you come. Like Inga Team is just a well of information that you can learn about that product. I just, you've done a great job.
No worries. Thank you. I hope Inga Team happy with me as well. If Glenn said I've done a good job, I hope the head of Inga Team Australia agree with Glenn.
All right. Well, here's high five to Inga Team and Palantec. Well, thank you, Fred. Thank you, Glenn. That was really good tech talk. And it's really going to be part of a series, a podcast series, which we'll hear more from those guys, well, basically Glenn, and his guests. And he's just done another recording the other day, so that's going to be a surprise who that is. But basically featuring a whole bunch of industry people here at the Smart Energy Lab. And for those of you who don't know, I'm kind of the doppelganger. Glenn's my doppelganger. I'm DJ Glenmo, and some people call me Fat Boy Slim of Solar. I don't know why. A little bit fat, a little bit slim, and loving my merch. But just getting out of the hoodie for a sec because it's actually quite warm in here. Just want to give a plug to my courses. I've got a 2-day course coming up this week on Wednesday and Thursday, and it's really all about the standards for batteries, inverters, and PV arrays. So it's great for those who've been installing and need a bit of a tech catch up. For those who are new to the industry, it's going to be a little bit of a stretch, but you know, if you're a quick learner, so it's really just 4 hours a day in the mornings. So basically a morning session, and you can really catch up on the standards on that course. So anyway, in the description below will be the URL that you can link on to go and register for that course. There will also be a longer course coming up later in the month. It's my 5-day course, basically 5 mornings here at Melbourne time, where you can learn all about designing a solar battery storage system, whether it being on-grid or off-grid. And it's for anyone. It's really not just for installers. It's for designers, for sales professionals. I've even had, builders do the course, system owners. It's a very generalist course, but we will go from woe to go, take you from not knowing too much about solar and batteries to knowing a lot, and how to size it, how to meet the standards, and how to install it. Okay, looking forward to seeing you guys and girls next Sunday, 2 p.m. here on Toolbox Tech Talk. Ciao.